November 19, 2025. President Trump signed a law that could change everything. In 30 days, the Department of Justice must release all files on one man, Jeffrey Epstein. Tonight, we're diving into the financial empire of the world's most dangerous predator. Follow me into the shadows. August 10th, 2019. Metropolitan Correctional Center, New York. Jeffrey Epstein is found dead in his cell. Official cause, suicide. His fortune, $578 million. But here's where the mystery begins. Nobody knows how he got that money. Epstein claimed to be a financial genius, a master investor, managing money for billionaires. But here's the problem. Almost nobody on Wall Street ever worked with him. His assets were never disclosed. His credentials, non-existent. Forbes magazine asked the question everyone was thinking. Why isn't sex offender Jeffrey Epstein a billionaire? The answer? There's almost no proof he was ever the financial mastermind he claimed to be. So how did a man with no documented success accumulate over $500 million? The answer lies with two men, two billionaires. Les Wexner, former CEO of Victoria's Secret, and Leon Black, private equity titan. Between 1999 and 2018, these two men alone accounted for over 75% of Epstein's income. Wexner paid him $200 million. Black paid him $170 million. But why? What was Epstein really selling? 3 theories, 3 possible explanations. Let's examine each one. Theory 1, the Ponzi connection. Before the mansions, before the private island, Epstein worked for a man named Stephen Hoffenberg. Together, they ran Towers Financial Corporation. 1993, the company collapses. It was a Ponzi scheme, one of the largest in American history. Investors lost over $450 million. Hoffenberg went to prison. He claimed Epstein was his partner in crime. But Epstein, never charged, never arrested. He walked away free and rich. 1996. Epstein becomes a resident of the U.S. Virgin Islands. 2 years later, he creates the Financial Trust Company. This single move reduces federal income tax by 90%. 90%. The Miami Herald uncovered something else. Epstein had multiple offshore accounts, millions of dollars hidden in tax havens around the world. The Paradise Papers revealed that Epstein hired Appleby, a law firm specializing in offshore companies for the ultra-wealthy. His title in the documents? Fortune Manager. But there's a third theory, the darkest one. Theory 3, blackmail. Multiple sources allege that Epstein secretly recorded his wealthy friends committing sexual crimes with minors. Then he blackmailed them. Think about it. It explains everything. The unexplained payments of millions. Relationships that continued even after his 2008 conviction. The mystery of who his real clients were. Was Epstein a financial advisor or a professional blackmailer? But Epstein couldn't do it alone. He needed help. He needed banks. 2 of the biggest banks in the world. JP Morgan Chase and Deutsche Bank. Combined, they processed over $1.5 billion in transactions for Jeffrey Epstein. JP Morgan, the original enabler. For 15 years, JP Morgan processed over $1 billion for Epstein. They opened 134 accounts for him. Even after his 2008 conviction for soliciting a minor, lawsuits claimed JP Morgan gave Epstein's sex trafficking operation special treatment, ensuring it could continue. And here's where it gets explosive. Jess Staley, former head of JP Morgan's private banking division. Staley was accused of exchanging sexually suggestive messages about young women with Epstein. He was also accused of sexual assault. Deutsche Bank, the conscious successor. When JP Morgan started distancing itself from Epstein in 2013, Deutsche Bank stepped in. For 6 years, they processed transactions for known victims and accomplices. They failed to report countless red flags. When compliance officers questioned wire transfers of millions to women with Eastern European surnames, Epstein and his lawyers gave absurd answers. They claimed the money was for tuition or rent for his friends. Deutsche Bank accepted these explanations. The transactions continued. 2020. New York regulators fined Deutsche Bank $150 million for errors and negligence in their relationship with Epstein. But the real question is, who else knew? November 19, 2025. After months of opposition, President Trump signed the Jeffrey Epstein Files Act. 30 days. That's how long the Department of Justice has to release everything. The pressure was bipartisan. Democrats and Republicans united. The American people demanded answers. Theory 2. Intelligence operation. Some theorists suggest Epstein worked for intelligence agencies, that sexual compromise was his tool for geopolitical control. No concrete evidence exists, but the questions remain. Theory 3. Strategic will. 2 days before his death, Epstein signed his will. All $578 million went into a private trust called the 1953 Trust. This made it extremely difficult for victims to access compensation. Even in death, Epstein protected his secrets. November 2025. President Trump's approval rating dropped to 38%, the lowest since the beginning of his term. The Epstein scandal is cited as one of the causes. Recent polls show that 70% of Americans believe the government is hiding information about Epstein's clients. 70%. That's not a fringe conspiracy theory. That's the majority of the country. Jeffrey Epstein is dead, but his shadow empire lives on. In bank vaults, in sealed documents, in the memories of hundreds of victims. 30 days. That's all we have to wait. Will the Jeffrey Epstein files finally reveal the truth, or will they just create more questions? One thing is certain. This story involves billions of unexplained dollars, global political power, heinous crimes, and institutions that allegedly facilitated it all for profit. The shadow empire is about to be exposed. The question is, are we ready for what we'll find? I'm Gnome du Representador, and you've just entered the shadows. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell, because in 30 days, everything changes. To be continued in 30 days.